Welcome to Mudding with Beags. This is episode 26. And tonight we're going to have a special guest, Artofdino, that'll be coming up later. I got DiNo and JJ holding on for a second. Bear with me, folks. Let's see. Chihuahua gone. We got time for we. All right. Let's check out what we got for DiNo. Got a little bio here. And let's see. This is DiNo. Art continues to unravel itself before me. Each day opens a new terrain previously unimaginable and unlocks new potential visions and thought processes that all resonate from a timeless mantra and will to save Earth with heart and art for all ages to enjoy. For those who may not have been taught about the ancient cultures of Earth, let me show you a glimpse of their wisdom, lore, and imagination. For those who may be depressed or sad with their present moments, let me guide you to a path where everything is perfect. Every moment is sacred, and every instant is a chance to discover and experience a miracle of existence. The beauty within American culture has been stifled by those who have seized control over popular forms of creative expression by dictating and corrupting what is to be seen by the masses. The agenda has glorified violence, destruction, and the intervention of nature, lust, greed, deception, death, evil, laziness, confusion, lies, and much more. This must end. So, that being said, let's see here. We got, I'm going to add DiNo here. Let's see. I got to get bear with me. I got to get this thing stopped. These buttons are toys. There we go. Okay. I'm going to add me and I'm going to add JJ. So welcome, DiNo. Let's see. There you go. I got you.
Nice. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming and joining us and sharing your time with us. I read that little intro.
I forgot I wrote that.
It was really cool. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I totally forgot I wrote that. It must have been a late night.
Yeah. This is my co-host JJ here. Say hello, JJ.
Nice to meet you.
You too. I've been enjoying your videos.
Oh, thank you. I've been listening to you guys too. You guys are good for when I need something, and and you're on, and I can just put you guys on and draw and whatnot. So it's been great lately. I was glad to have met you somewhat recently at Beags, and now I'm a fan. I'm glad to be here.
I've been watching you for a while, so you're not new to me.
That's awesome.
I keep my eye on a lot of people, but yeah.
I like that. Yeah, you seem knowledgeable of like the whole of everything, and I like that. I like the way I like your perspective on things.
Thank you. I've been awake 15 years now, so
excellent.
I've been down about every rabbit hole there is. But won't you tell us about yourself and what you're into, what your topics of research are about, and we definitely want to hear about your art. And he's got his art in his background there. So
nice.
why don't you take the floor and give us a little introduction to who you are?
Well, fellow 1982 right there, I see. That starts of that was when I began. But then really just, I don't know, just always loved creativity, started building things with my dad, went to music, toured the country and world with my band Era Press, wrote a bunch of albums, had a lot of great experiences. That was really unbelievable. I grew up kind of like a Goonie, loving adventure and all kinds of different things. And I think I got another video idea based on the Goonies that I think is a lot of things coming, especially with Robert Davi coming back into the picture recently. And I don't know, Goonies is just one of those things that right when it came out, it just touches a lot of the best. So good.
So good.
Hey, it's actually funny. My band's first album syncs with the Goonies, like in the way that Dark Side syncs with Wizard of Oz. But
have you seen my version of that of the Dark Side of the Rainbow? I did a version. It's on Bitchute because I can't get it on YouTube. It's called Fear Inoculum, and I put Wizard of Oz to Tool's Fear Inoculum.
Oh wow, I'd like to hear that. Send me a link. I'll try to do the same thing. Stuff Beagle on Bitchute.
Yep, it's on Bitchute. But it's on I think it's on Bitchute. I don't know. Bitchute hit me up taking down a few of my tool videos last week, but I don't think they got that one.
Oh, nice. I'll check that out. That sounds amazing.
If not, I'll send it to you. I've got links to it.
Yeah, I love that. Nothing beats like when music syncs up in a way that's like you can't plan, and that can only happen once, but is like mind blowing. I remember I love finding things like that.
Have you done 2112 with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
No, what, Rush 2112?
Yeah.
No, wow, that sounds pretty.
It's not as good as Dark Side of the Rainbow, but it's pretty cool.
Wow,
it's got its moments. The old one, not the new one. You know, not the
I'll definitely look into that. That sounds good.
Yeah. I don't know how you sync it up. You'll have to look up the sync, but it does work. I've tried it. I did a lot of LSD back in the day.
Where everything's synced.
You know. There's a name for that. I forget what the name is of when what happens is you're when you put like a music and a video together, there's a name for the synchronization that happens. And basically your mind fills it in.
Oh, interesting. Wow. I could see. I remember one time one of my like most like interesting ones was watching like old it was like near Steamboat Willie era like cartoons. At one point back in college with this band called Saved by Grace at the time, who was like brutally heavy. And I remember it was like one of the most, me and my friends were just like terrified, but it was like an old school cartoon. It was like some like, I don't even know. It wasn't Steamboat Willie, but it was something that old. And it was like, it was like shaking, like terrifying. I don't know why. I can't even tell you why, but the music like made it like just something unbelievable. And then
last Halloween, I put out a video on BitChute of old Halloween cartoons, black and white Halloween cartoons that were mirrored and then synced to Slipknot's Iowa record.
Oh my God! Wow, that sounds ridiculous.
It's wild.
The mirrored idea sounds cool. I love looking at everything that way. That's incredible. Then keep mirroring it. I used to call it fractiling, and I'd like turn. There's a lot of my art I sometimes design so that you can connect it. So I'll like measure things on each side so that they'll be in harmony with each other if they were to continue. So,
wow!
So I've always kind of experimented with that. Yeah, I always thought of like making a tapestry or something.
I see some of DiNo's earlier videos because when I go to your channel, I went to all the stuff. And he's got some of his artwork spinning, and it is so freaking cool.
That's some of my favorite, my personal stuff. My favorite drawing that I have that like my most prized treasure is this spiral I did. It was like the second or third spiral, but it came across like I was finishing it around the time. If it's ever finished, it's never really finished. This one exhibited the fact that like artwork's never finished, and a spiral especially is never finished. More than anything, I think I did it for like years. I like kept adding to it so that there wasn't like anything out of place. And then I put a pinhole in the direct center of it, and it's I used to put it above my bed, and it would like. I remember one time it sucked me into one of the more intense dreams I've like ever had, and I had the decision to like get stuck through it or like stay, and I pulled out and I woke up and I like regretted it for like months because it was like some being was like came to me on this huge grid and was like stared at me and like pulled, like I felt my like whole body getting sucked through like a tiny hole, and then I pulled out, and I wish I didn't.
Nice. That reminds me of my first acid trip I took the day after
no drugs
coming down. I took a piece of a card that somebody had sent me. It wasn't round or square. It had this weird top. I've still got it hanging on my wall. And I put a pen in the table, and then I started writing in a circle, and I was like doing poetry in a circle around and around and around. And I was just using my thoughts and putting it, in that awakening part of after you're coming off the LSD.
Oh, wow.
So I still have that. It's just, I should make a video and just read that thing. It's so crazy.
You should. Read it and see if you can like get a video it like After Effects or something of it like spinning, unraveling as you're reading it or something.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd have to figure that one out. That would be cool. Yeah,
like a slow rotation. You probably just somehow rotate it like slow, like 6 times a minute or something.
Have you seen the old film ones that they did? I don't know what they're called, but they did a whole series of round
phenokistoscopes. The old animation, the old form of animation.
And they spin around and move.
I made an app that was called Mandala Magic that was out for like 3 years, and it's again one of those things that should have been big, but it actually I spent like 2-3 years making it, and it came out at the same time fidget spinners came out, and they completely pummeled like any kind of interest I had. But I used it for a lot with like schools and teaching, and you could take a picture of anything or upload a file and spin it as fast as you wanted to, and you could zoom into it. I still have it on like 2 of my iPad or like 1 iPad, but
cool.
It was an app like designed to make that like so that when you're working on those kind of drawings that animate, like I still kind of do teach classes on how to do it. I think I have a video actually of 2 classes that I taught on how to make that artwork, because you have to like cut it into certain frames, and then you like a pizza, and then there's a whole method, and there's all these different potentials to it. I explored down that like crazy for a while, and it's because I'm convinced I started with just spinning that spiral, and then when that happened, the most multi-dimensional, like besides that dream thing, and it used to lull you to sleep. Like there's like I could rattle off a ton of benefits of having a spinning mandala over your bed, but the illusion that it gave, like you could stare into it for hours, and it wouldn't like. You'd constantly see new things. It was like the ultimate like multi-dimensional Rorschach, and it would spin in and out, and you could dive into it. It was like, and it
where
really,
were you when I was doing LSD, man?
Yeah, and all these things were natural too. I used to test it on my friends, and I'd like bring them in like during different states of like sober or just like drunk or anything, and they'd be able to see it no matter what state they were in. So that became my goal of trying to represent those kind of visions without the use of anything except art in a weird way. And the spinning mandala holds the key to that. It's going to be like my lifelong project.
Well, yeah, when you're doing your art in general, I know you do different types, but I mean, what like the example behind you on your background, did you hand draw that with a pencil and then color it next, or did you color it in what's the process like in simple terms, in dummy terms? I'm dummy.
That one, this one took like 2.5 years. So this is like they're all a little different. Like some, I actually have the newest one I'm working on is a book cover for something that I wish I could mention here, but I can't because I'll jinx myself and I'll end up it'll fall apart. But
hear that.
Stay tuned because it could be something. It could be one of my best things, like one of my best. Like just a good thing, and nice. But each one's different. So that's different because I'm going with someone else's idea. This one was it started off as like my judgment, like me doing judgment, but then the idea evolved like kind of my triptych-y thing, and then so it evolved from that to the moment that good triumphs over evil, which is what I wanted to represent. Like that, that's pretty much how you read that drawing. Is from the perspective that it's all taking place at the moment that good wins and all that shit ends finally, and so it's got the hell crumbling down on the right and the divine beings like just staring it down, and then it's got kind of the firmament on the right. I'm gonna do like a full like 2-hour plus like description of it. Oh yeah, there you go. You can kind of see.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to. You're explaining. I'm like, where is that?
That's amazing.
Over this way. Yeah, this is like the ultimate divine, and that's a little bit of the firmament, kind of this whole thing coming down here. Oh, I can't figure it. Can't figure out the reverse.
That's tricky. Yeah,
but then so that's like the tower of evil, about ready to. At the moment of crumblage, when everything kind of unites, all the main forces. I could go on forever. Every single little piece of it is symbolic. There's like a lot of stuff that I predicted. So a lot of like interest. The COVID kind of nonsense is kind of depicted in here in a way that like I could have never. It drew it before. I drew this. I drew basically the hellish realm and the most of the middle realm, and then that left with the elephant. I had the bottom part of that drawn for a while, and then the whole top left, like the really kind of bright part, that like divine plane where it says Art of Dino, I guess, is that part. I couldn't really even finish. I had to wrap my head around what I was going to put there for like almost a year, and then I finally when I had the ability, when COVID came and we just had to stay at home, which I didn't mind one bit. I ended up just tackling that and just taking it down and finishing it up. And it was like all different kinds of thought processes over time that unraveled and got kind of just got more refined in my head first. I actually did a time-lapse video on YouTube. I took like 7,000 pictures, and it goes in and out, it zooms in and out, and like kind of like, I got it somewhere. If you look up Great Awakening time lapse on my YouTube, I think it's somewhere in there. But I was impressed that I actually had the effort to do that. A lot of time lapses I give up on halfway through because it takes even more time to factor in that. But
well, when you start let's say you take the blank canvas of the page or the canvas, whatever you start on, do you pencil it in like an outline, or do you start with the colors?
I used to just go straight to color when I very first started, and now I plot things out a little bit more. I don't plot everything out like at all because I use a very light pencil, but some things that like a lot of the inner details, I'll maybe plot out the spacing of things and like so this, and I usually begin symbolically. Right here, right at the center, that bottom center is the guy you can see with his arms spread out in the brain coral. That's where that one started. So that I sometimes will start with a brain coral or something like symbolic or different, and then I like my wife drew the moon in Mary in the fountain. So I if there's a feminine aspect of something, I usually might have her do it, and to get that extra power in there.
Right. So what?
What was that? I missing one.
I said, cool. They collaborated.
Oh yeah. I figured I had to get her in there for this one. We actually have a yin yang coming out, which is like a half and half collaboration. And she does the ocean animals, and I do the land animals, and that's gonna be sweet.
So you get the sacred feminine in there.
Yeah. I feel like there's usually a thing, or sometimes there's like she's really good at faces, and so I'll occasionally be like, "You want to take down this face?" Or if I'm like nearing a drawing, but I want to get her in there, I'll be like, this part I think would be good for this background or this like something. So I tend to throw her in there, and then if she's got the time, she doesn't.
How large is that? Just the one you're looking at?
That one is like probably 5 feet wide by like 4 feet, maybe 4 feet by 5.5 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. Probably that. Yeah, that one took a long freaking time. I have 2 drawings that are of that. That's like the size of the paper that I get, and when I get my bigger paper, that's beyond Bristol for the artists out there. But when I get map board, I get it in that size. So I've done 2 that are that size, and this one, and then one called Save Earth that has like thousands of animals. And that one took
colored pencils. Is that your medium of choice, or
no? It's all pen. It's all ink. And
ink pen.
Different forms. I have a bunch of different collections of pens that I've gathered, and the Sharpies, microns, all different.
Do you do any other forms of art that or is this your main focus?
This is my favorite. This is my favorite by far. Ink is like just because I can get so detailed, and if I love painting too. I paint. Oil paint I don't do as much because it's expensive and a little toxic. And but acrylic paint I'll do like outside and like live painting shows and different paintings or ideas that require painting, or sometimes to really just to try and make some money. I paint. The ink is different. The ink is like the thing that I love the best. I like.
Right.
Nothing beats drawing because it's full control over every detail, and I have like a process like like once I fill up all the space and I have everything kind of like where I want it to be and it's majority filled up, my favorite spot, my favorite time then, because I don't have to think, I can just like get in the zone and just for hours, just go over tiny details, like put a couple movies on, put some music on, and just like go over every detail. And it's almost like I used to refer to it as like acupuncture, because the drawing will go from when it's full, it looks nice and it looks great, but when it like as I tweak it like more and more and more, it starts to like pop out and like come alive and like turn into something like so different. That's like why the spirale never ended, is because the nature of it, but also it was like any drawing, the more you look at it, the more you can always add something and refine something or tweak something, or it's just, and then it hits a certain point where I'm like, I can't do anymore. It may not be done, but it's ready for a scan. And then when that's when I'll make prints of it, and then I'll go on to the.
Where do you present your work? How do you get it to the world?
There's a gallery at Patriot Place. Pretty much like I could probably hit a baseball from the gallery, like the outside the gallery door into Patriot Stadium where the New England Patriots play. And so that's really good. That's a gallery that's like right next to my hometown where I grew up. So it's in Foxborough, and Bob Kraft actually donates the space, and he started off donating a really small space like about 15 years ago, and I think it was his late wife's idea. And say what you will about Bob Kraft and other areas of life, but what he's done and that Patriot Place and for us is phenomenal.
Okay. So this is my ignorance. I don't know who Bob Kraft is. Who is he?
Oh, I think he's like he's an absolute billionaire of like owns the stadium, owns Gillette Stadium where the New England Patriots play, and like I think Kraft, his family is part of Kraft Industries. I think
Kraft. Oh, okay.
Might be the cheesy macaroni stuff, but I'm not positive on that. I know they do a bunch of different stuff. It's like
that's a big company.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff all over the place.
Huge.
But he donates the space, and it's so we can actually offer art at a good price, and instead of having to pay like having to counteract the rent. So it's an unbelievable blessing. And right when they came to like my town, right when they opened the gallery the next town over me, I like staked out this guy Frank Quinn, who's one of my good friends, this older artist, and I stocked the gallery for like a little bit, and then I ended up being a guest artist, and every time they needed me, yes, Patrick, definitely, all over the place. And you can email me. And
that was my next question.
I do like custom. I have a certain selection of things, and a lot of I've worked with the same printers for 20 years. Like at my gallery, I have a whole wall. At our gallery, I have a whole wall of prints from me and my wife, and some originals. And yep, there we go. That's him right there, the Kraft Group. But but it's great. It's amazing. So that's how I like to deal with in reality. And before that, though, I used to go to Newbury Street. Like for about 15 years, I would get my peddler's license in Boston for like $60 a year, and then I'd ride my bike from Brighton. The first few years, I would ride my bike with a backpack and a blanket and set up on the side of the street and sell art. And then
oh wow! Did you ever hear the story about Bansky selling art on the street?
When they were really cheap and everyone was downgrading it, and it was that's what it's like.
That was great. I love Bansky. I love him.
That's cool. He's I've got mixed thoughts about him, but
some of his politics I'm not big on, but the way he does his art, how he does the stencils and things like that. And some of his stuff has been really good. I don't agree. It's like I don't agree. What's that? Like a Shepard Farley? Is that his name?
Shepard Fairey.
Yeah, his politics are horseshit, but his art has some real character.
Yeah, there's always interesting things about everyone. I mean, they could be totally legit, but when you start making that much money, God knows who ends up taking over. And they did. I don't know if you ever saw that Exit Through the Gift Shop.
Yes. Yeah.
With Mr. Brainwash, who again is like, I don't really. I don't like. I've been, as I dive more and more into the artists that we're all looking at, like behind you and in the past, like, and seeing all these engravers and these Alphonse Mucas and learning more about all these artists that are just like, it makes me respect these other people less and less and less. And like it's like Andy Warhol. I never knew much about him. Terrible. But I always was like, ugh, garbage. And
although I do like
recently, and it was just even worse than that. Pathetic. Keep going.
Jean-Michel Basquiat. I like him.
Oh yeah. He's got great stuff. It's it's one of those. I like his style. I like his work. I like his life. But again, he's one of those stories that, like, someone's making so much money off of him somewhere. It's like, even like Peter Max. Peter Max came out. A lot of people, whenever I meet an older person from an older generation, they're always like, "Oh, you look like Peter Max." And then you look up Peter Max, and it's like huge brush strokes and all this stuff. But then you find out later that for like 30 years, like, or 20 years or something, like, Peter Max's family was putting out frauds and like selling them for all this stuff. So it's like, the art game is just so dirty.
What was the story about Big Eyes? Have you seen that movie with the artist?
Oh yeah. Her husband, the girl's husband, took advantage of it.
Yeah.
So everyone's out to get you in this game, and it's like it's nuts. It's weird.
It's wild.
And then Hunter Biden. They all the classics. So they're all in the same. And I can't imagine the dirty things that go on, the money laundering, and then the whole NFT thing. It's there's so much.
Yeah, I don't understand the NFT thing. I don't quite get that.
Yeah, it's not going to be worth
my age. I'm 50 years old. I think I'm showing my age there. Do you take if people contact you and ask you to do a piece of work, do you take on that kind of work where they?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's some of the best stuff, and I always welcome that, because I have a method of doing it now. I went through years of getting
we lost. He's buffering.
I think we got cut.
Yeah,
but I love painting for companies, or coming up with logos, or doing artwork for people. My wife does beautiful, like, animal portraits, or portraits of past relatives. I do house I'll do anything if pretty much to be working as an artist.
As an artist, yeah.
I love teaching. I teach
have
art
a
all the time.
website or a channel or anything? Is she out there too?
Oh, no, she'll be coming soon. She's got a lot of ideas. She's like getting in the process of working, and her website's going to be coming out. Art of Erin Sarah, that's going to be coming out very soon. So stay tuned.
Okay.
She'll probably start firing things back up, getting involved in more.
Right. I do. Sometimes when I'm bored, I'll do some art, and what I'll do is I cheat now. I'm not an artist, but I'll, just for toying around, I'll take a piece of paper, and I'll see something on a picture that I think is interesting, and I'll put it on the LCD screen, and I'll trace it, and then I'll take another picture, and I'll put it in a placement, and I'll change the picture. It's like I took Bansky's guy where he's throwing the bouquet of flowers, and I changed the bouquet of flowers to a fluorescent light bulb.
Nice. That's great.
So that's the kind of stuff that I like to do. But I mean, they're like black and white pencil drawings, nothing spectacular. But
you should get a Micron pen. You should get a couple Micron pens, and that's what changed everything for me, really. Just this one pen. It's like Sakura Micron pens. They're like 0.1. It's almost like drawing with a needle. And as far as like even freeform thought writing, it's just like, boom, you can do it. You can do anything with them. Really great.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. Micron pen.
The best thing for college. The best thing I learned in college is a pen. Discovery of a pen.
I was for some reason, I guess growing up, I was always taught to appreciate art. So I've always appreciated art and artists and everything that goes with it. Especially paintings and drawings and I'm not as big on sculpture, just as a personal preference. I don't like graffiti, like the street graffiti. I don't like that. I do like, Mansky's work, but
I like tasteful graffiti.
Yeah, there's some that's really, really, really good.
Like the mural graffiti, I like, but I don't like the gang style graffiti. It's just
no.
No, it's not a. It's sometimes it can definitely be an eyesore. I love the ones that are just like where you're either like a mural that's you're transported to like another world, or you're like see into something. Like those ones that like kind of blend with reality a little bit are pretty cool.
That's a micro pen.
Micron.
Micron.
Yeah. Sakura, I think it is. Sakura Pigma.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well,
okay, just for my interest, we're all born into this world, and all of us have our heads up our tail ends. So what woke you up? What got you to awakening to what our world and our universe really is?
I've had a lot of different things like throughout life that have kind of like made me question things in like big ways, I guess. One of my earliest creativity was really in like 6th grade when I in 5th grade we had to write like a 3-page story or something for class, and I ended up writing a 20-page story, and then I liked it so much that I like the next year, 6th grade, on my own, I like hand wrote a 350-page book, and so I was like entering another world and like getting into like just like really exploring like a whole new realm of creativity that I'd never really done before, and so that actually started me doing research on a bunch of different topics that I never would have really thought about if my story didn't like take me to need to research them. So then I started kind of getting clues then, and that was right around the time that I started listening to like 80s metal and like Megadeth and Queensryche, different bands that like helped snap me out of it as well. And I even remember in
I used to love Queensryche and Empire.
Empire, hugely political. There's Megadeth, a couple members of Megadeth, Chris Poland, I think, and a few others were in a band called Damn the Machine once, and I got the CD for like $2 at one point. But if you can ever find it, I think it's still on YouTube.
Was Dave Mustaine on there?
It's what?
Was Dave Mustaine on there?
No, he wasn't on there. But the singer is great, and it's amazingly political. It's like there's a song called like "Corporate Rain," and like it's just unbelievably political for the time that it was made.
And tell me that again, so I can write it down.
Damn the Machine, like DAMN space the Machine. I think it should still be other. They were pretty cool. It's good for like that kind of like 80s metal-y stuff, but with like a crazy political message. And then so that was always there. And like I said, when I was like 6 or 7, I was over a friend's house, and we did like, it was actually one of the first times that we like that a Ouija board. Like I've never even heard of the thing, but he brought one out and like told me the initials of all the girls that I liked at the time in like 5th grade, and I was like, what? No, how did anyone do that? But then his brother came down. And his older brother was like in my sister's grade, like 4 or 5 years older. And he started telling us about 2012 and the Mayan calendar. And this was like in 1988 or something, 89. And so I like, what? I was like blown away. And then, so that stuck with me forever, thinking that 2012, there was a something that was going to happen. Or
that's what woke me up. When I heard that for the first time, I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, that almost makes you be like, what are we on? It makes you like think that like it's just to even fathom that the world could end at a young age is like it brings up so many questions that can't be solved really ever. But
that's the one that kicked me into gear. I found that just watching TV one night in 2008, and I understand it now, but I mean, at the time, it really, for the first probably 2 months, I thought that was going to happen. Like,
yeah,
But after reading 42 books on 2012, I now understand it.
I didn't really. I think when I was really young, I feared it. But then even at a really still young, like a few years after, kind of being like, oh, what was that guy talking about? I started thinking about it as like a good thing, like pretty early on, like it was going to be something great. And I was under the impression that I obviously didn't want the world to end. So, but it just started, and then everything started falling into place. But it was still an interest, and it was actually kind of funny. On my morning of 2012, I went to see the sunrise. Like, I didn't do anything really too special, but I went to climb this water tower in these woods that I like. And I watched I was going to watch the sunrise, but it was like a rainy day. But from the view that I had, it was overlooking kind of Boston and Boston Harbor, and the water. It was nuts. I've never really seen I've never really seen anything like it before. But all the clouds, and like the clouds were so thick and the fog was so thick that I was overlooking the whole Boston, like hills, Blue Hills, and all that area. And all of it looked like there was water. It looked like the whole city was flooded with water because of the way the low clouds were.
Wow!
Still got a glimpse of like the apocalypse, like by the clouds.
Have you seen my the work I've done on Boston's Back Bay?
No, I'd like to check that out though, because there's a lot there.
There, I don't know if, well, maybe you don't, but do you know that the story is that they filled in the land in Boston?
Yeah, they chopped up a couple hills, supposedly.
Yeah, and then filled in the water. And I've looked into it, and what it seems to me is that all those buildings were already there, and that is all fabricated story.
I'm not surprised. I'm definitely not surprised. And the hills, there's something interesting about those hills too, because there's Blue Hill and there's Hancock Hill and Buck Hill. Buck Hill is actually my favorite. Are you from around here?
No, I just find it interesting.
Oh wow. But yeah, there's like leading up to that, there's like 5 like hills, and like almost like in succession of like getting smaller that seem out of place. And at the top of Blue Hills, there's like a castle, like a stone castle with an overlook at the top, a 4-way overlook, and there's like these windows, like the thin slit windows that are like that. There's like those in it, and there's stone foundations all over the place. And there's like, I haven't been checking it out since I've been really diving down this rabbit hole, but I've been meaning to go back. I got to get back and get some more pictures. But it's
the obelisk that have you ever been to the State House?
Yeah.
Okay. The obelisk that's over on the one of the sides of the building.
I think I know which one you mean.
If you're looking at the building on the right-hand side of the building, there's an obelisk on the side. That obelisk is a model, a reproduction of the original obelisk that I think was on Beacon Hill.
Really?
And they say that it was destroyed. The original was destroyed, and that they moved it. And when they moved it, it was redone. But I don't know. That's the story behind that obelisk.
Interesting. Yeah, I gotta check that out again.
One of my first videos was actually on Cheers, the bar, and I was showing how Beacon Street is a mud flood area.
So I bet it definitely is. There's something crazy about that whole area. There's so many different things. Even on the library. The library has the swastika pattern covering the entire thing, encircling the entire library.
Everywhere.
That library itself is just nuts. The statues and everything in it is.
I keep saying it, but we need to steal that symbol back from Hitler, because he totally ruined it for us.
No, on purpose. The powers that be ruined it. They knew exactly how to do it in a way. Exactly. They always do.
What got you to see the old world and the stuff that's going on today with the old world studies and the Tartarian, the mud flood, and the resets and all that? How did you come to that?
That was I forget. I don't know if it was. Well, I'd always kind of thought about it because of growing up in these places, and like there's a place called Moose Hill near me too, and there's like so many. Me and my friend, I have a couple friends that love going off the path. Like we go on the path for a little bit, and then we can't resist going off the path, and especially in the winter when everything's like you can just go through everything. Yeah, so I've explored a ton of my woods and found things like I've been for years since I was young. I've always been finding things that didn't make sense, and there's this whole area that we go to watch sunsets like every week. Would be there's stone walls everywhere. There's old fireplaces. There's an old cistern. There's old foundations, and the stories never made sense. And there's actually there's the property used to be run by there's a big area of property with a really nice house that has an old Nobel Prize winning Kendall. I forget what he did, something with chemistry, I think, but his last name was Kendall, and he was in Sharon, and he lived there, and that always made me be like, huh, because I had a friend growing up in my grade who lived in that house. His dad was like the caretaker there, so we'd go there a lot, and it was just I always grew up seeing these things, and plus in Canton too, right in the next town over, I did a video on the Canton Viaduct, which is this giant thing, and even like when my daughter drives by it, we say like Tartaria, and like it's my path that I drive almost every day, and it's a wall that doesn't make any sense, and they say that the Masons made it for the railroad, but then there's all these weird etchings in it that are like. It could be anything. That could be the Freemasons just being like, "Hey, we did this," and just carving their names in it, or it's even more ancient than that. And I have a friend too that seems to claim that there's an underground way to get into it, but he's in Florida. I'm waiting for him I got to get him back here.
Have you seen my work on viaducts?
No, I'd like to check that out too. I got to dive back into a lot of yours.
I did a video called "Viaducts of Atlanta." And really? I have shown that the entire downtown core of Atlanta, Georgia, is a viaduct.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's something we're not being told. Something big on the horizon that needs to be discovered. Hopefully.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface. We're really just getting started.
Yeah, I think so.
What is your focus? Like, what are you most interested in that field of research? What's sparking your imagination now?
Well, the main I guess my method of kind of diving in and trying to find something lately, and usually, I have a bunch of different kind of avenues that I'll go down in different things, but like my recent one, well, not really recent. One of my main ones is, I guess, the art. Like looking for just because I know how I think, and I know how like this artwork and behind me and several other ones, like I put things in that no one will probably ever really like think to see or to connect. And I have a feeling that a lot of these old artists do the same, because how can you resist? Like when you're kind of creating your own language, you almost can't help but put things in there that are like
little signature kind of Easter eggs.
Yeah, exactly. And little testers and just different things that satisfy you, and then tons of things that I don't even know about. A lot of things are subconscious, because I definitely tap into the subconscious. And so sometimes things will come out that I won't discover till later. I won't even see for years down the road. And so there's always that kind of thing too. And I'm always also looking for that in old art as well, but some kind of slip up. Always on the lookout for.
When you say old art, are you referring to the paintings, or are you talking to the sculptures, or
anything really? I like. Okay. I search like archive.org like always for like new things, just new things to see. And David Rumsey, has just recently put up like a bunch of different books that hadn't really been on there before, so I caught some of those cool artworks. And I really have a collection of like things for inspiration, and then when I'm diving down that, I'll come across things, and I'll or I'll have like an idea that I'll go down. Sometimes I'll like just end up getting completely sidetracked from a bunch of things. And
have you ever seen the Henry Derringer movie documentary?
With the guy that does like this huge thing his entire life. Is that the one?
Nobody knew he was doing it.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. That's great. That's then a lot, and I love that, and it's good that people got to see it. But there's a part of me that like loves showing people stuff, not like just as a way of like I don't know. That's why a lot of times, like I'm in the gallery. Actually, I'm one of the few artists that has prints of everything, because I cherish my originals, and I couldn't part with them for just like a couple $100 if I'm pouring my soul into it. So I make prints of everything so that and I offer them as cheap as possible so that everybody could like really spread the message and kind of brighten people up with like good positive things. So but the art world can like beat the crap out of you. So it makes sense that a lot of people like that's where I think a lot of the amazing little miracles will lie, in the people that like the creative people that don't get heard as much as they should. Like I have a cousin in San Francisco. He's in a band called the Rabbles, and he's been in bands his whole life, like since he's like probably like 30 years, and he's an unbelievable songwriter. Like it absolutely takes it. I like Sonic Youth to an extent, but I think he takes a dump on Sonic Youth and like and all those he's just got a style that's just unbelievable, but he does it purely for like the spirit of music, and so he doesn't really like promote it as much as like, I mean, there's so many art forms that if they were like, you know, to replace like Megan Thee Stallion and like all these other freaks, that you know the world would change. That Hillary video, I saw that Hillary video today. That's what made me think of that. It was cringe. But you know,
the demon earlier.
Did you see that thing? It was
I haven't. I try not to watch Hillary if I can not help it.
It's ridiculous. But
what does she do now? Do I want to know?
Ridiculous.
Such a horrible person. Oh man.
Yeah, I couldn't even. Everything. Every time you hear something from these monsters, that's like just topping their last disaster of insanity.
I read a book. I forget what it's called. Like not a book about the Chinese finding North America, and in the book, the guy's talking about. I think it's called 1427, but the guy's talking about how Da Vinci got his ideas for his art, the inventions from the Chinese, from their books, and he then made new art he made better images of what he saw.
I bet.
And so that was a really interesting book. If you hadn't read that book, great book.
I would like to. I remember seeing that when it came out a long time ago and being like, "Whoa!" That was another one of those like things that like, you know, I remembered that stuck with me, was reading the back of that book and being like, "Oh, that makes sense." I bet. Like that town that I was telling you about, the viaduct right next to me, is called Canton, and there's like a series of. I did one like drive through because I couldn't resist, and it's just like, you know, golf course, cemetery, hills that don't make any sense, like stone wall. Like next cemetery, next golf course. It's like you can't make it up. It's everywhere. But I'm actually convinced that like I kind of wonder if how much of a role Tartaria and China played in America. Like I have a feeling that might be what one of the big cover-ups is that China was like a huge influence here. And then when they lost,
probably know that they erased the official history is that they erased the official history of China. So we don't know what the history is.
Exactly. That makes sense. That makes total whatever was here, they erased the total they erased it completely. And this probably had monks doing the monks just constantly pumping out stuff in order to make it, reproducing other people's thing. Like something happened at some point. It's just impossible.
Well, I don't think we know what. I think we got a long ways before we know what, but something happened. And I think that's a good place to start. I mean, heck, for most of my life, I didn't know anything happened, so I guess I'm doing better than I was.
That's true. We got to start.
I have to say that. You know, you mentioned archaics earlier in your email. So I wanted to give you opportunity to voice your opinion on archaics.
I mean, I don't really know. It's just I really do like it. I think everyone in these communities has something to offer. Like whether even if you're, to be honest, even if you're a fraud, and I'm not saying that he is or anyone is, but even if you are, you still will probably maybe trigger something in someone. Hopefully, not too many of the wrong directions, but you never know. But either way, I do think that there are, just not regards to anyone specific, but I think it seems like they're sending out certain people to this seems like certain things are rising at an unnatural
I'd never
rate.
heard of it at all, and then all of a sudden I started in like 1 week I started getting comment after comment and email after email, people telling me about it. I'm like, what, who is this person? And then when I go to look into him, the first thing I realized was that he was predicting things, and as soon as I heard that, I turned it off, because I don't listen to anybody that predicts, because no man knows what's coming.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that. That's where the fear. A lot of people do the fear game. A lot of the people that get spread to a certain degree that seems unnatural have a fear agenda to attach to them, and it's.
I'm not saying that he's not, believing or true or anything. He's a bad guy or anything. I'm just saying that for me, I don't trust anybody that predicts. I mean, because I agree. Early on in my awakening, I believed a lot of the people that were predicting things for the future. It's like an example would be I told everyone in 2008 that they were getting ready to collapse the economy. Now they did collapse the economy, but the problem is that it has never been gone. It's never gone public. The economy's gone. We just don't know it yet. They're just propping it up with this fake money. But I was right, but I was also wrong. So I learned very early on not to believe or trust prediction.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like you can't. I gave up a while ago as well, doing the same, because it's just never. It always, like, there's always something better in some way that is coming, or something. I don't know. I always it's all the path is gonna unravel no matter what, and it's better to just embrace it. I think, and again, just thinking. I'm big in living in the present and thinking in the present, and not letting the future, not letting anything, the future or the past, really mess with the present. That's seems easy.
I definitely agree with that.
Because every time you predict something, it just slams you, and you'll get slammed by something, and you can't predict.
If you tell people about it, you look like a fool.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And especially online too. It's definitely not worth it. The reason why I think I mentioned in the email is I just seen, like, I think Tartarian Truth put out like something about that guy Archaics getting like this bike, like walking out of KFC and like showing his motorcycle with all these lights on it or something.
Yeah, I saw that video. That was kind of strange.
It seemed interesting. A couple different things. It's but yeah, I don't really know. He seems.
One thing I've questioned is, he talks about how he was in prison and he read all his books in prison, but then my question is, what kind of quality books do they actually have in prison?
Yeah, that seems interesting.
I don't know the answer.
I haven't really watched any of his videos.
I've read over 1,000 books. You can't see it behind me, but I have over 1,000 books behind me. I've read each one of them over 4 times. And so I'm a book hound. I love to read, but what quality are they giving? I've got quality. Okay. I got quality you wouldn't believe, but are they giving the prisoners the quality of books? Because that makes a big difference. There's a lot of crap out there.
Yeah, I wonder what he was in for too. And again, that's a sign that you're in the system.
I know this. Kidnapping.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, it could be. I'm not gonna die. I can't. I don't think I've ever. I think I've never watched more than like 2 minutes of his videos and stuff. I like the titles.
I don't even know how I caught that. I check into people when people recommend something like that. I check into it because they might be on to something, and I'm not putting the guy down. It's just not for me. I don't resonate with it. That's all.
Yeah, that's the interesting factor. It's really like it's one of those things where you can't really change how you resonate with something. I remember like especially when I was in a band, like being in a band, I remember like when Limp Bizkit came out, like I had so many friends that were just like, yes, like, and I was like, ugh, like immediately it was just like, like what is wrong with you guys? And then I never really fell for any. Music's always been one of those things where I've never really. I'm proud to say I've never fallen for any like, just not. It's like just one of those like hints that, you know, when the vibes. It's the same with people. Like I've met like, out of all the people I've met in my life, like thousands, I think I've not vibed with like six, like in person, and then online, God knows how many. But you never know when. I think I think a lot of the people that have come at me have been not even real. So it's like.
I'm an empath, so that anytime when somebody writes a text or a comment or text or an email, I'm an empath, so I can sense through the text, through the words. They could be being just as nice as they want, but because they've put that energetic impression into that email or comment or text, I know where they're going. Like I can feel that energy, and I know before they know where they're going. And so I'm way ahead of them. And I know a troll as soon as I see a comment and it's a troll, they don't have to be they could be just as sweet as pie, but I know they're a troll and I just play with them.
Like you really have to. I do the same. You can't like take any of them seriously anyway. Like it's again one of those things where you like just have to learn that like quick. I'm convinced wholeheartedly that what we're on is just an absolutely minuscule part of this massive thing. I still, above all, my favorite and most favorite kind of one is the Jainism model with like 6 billion miles wide, 6 billion miles high, and flat and far and awesome and like something.
Have they mapped that? I don't know.
I did. I took the Srimad Bhagavatam and drew like my impression of it and like the different concentric circles, and then like this one little spot where it's like our map is like a circle. Is
that on your website?
Yeah, that should be on there in the mandalas section.
Okay, let's look and see if we can find that.
The Jainiverse in the mandalas page, if it works. Yeah, mandalas.
Right there.
And then the Jainiverse one. The Jainiverse stick figures. Yeah, go down. Yeah, those are actually a lot of those little ones that you see, like that flower star child, and some of those ones above, the ones that look like symmetrical, those all animate, like you were talking about with the Phoenix.
Those are gorgeous. Yes, I love those.
Oh, Jainiverse, right in the center. Yeah, that one. You can click on it again, and it might, or click. Yeah, there you go.
I love the way you use. Wow. I call it the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, why not use that? I mean, I get closed eye visuals almost every night, and the colors are even better than this. So that's my inspiration. But yeah, so right there, you can see right at the top is our map. You see that kind of like ellipse map in the center right there? You can kind of see. Yep. That's what I would consider us. And then if you go up north, you get to the Mount Meru. And then each one of those is like, they say like, one is like an ocean of milk. Like they use the different like liquids like in as like this concentric rings of water, and there's a ton going on. There's like the above world, the Shiva, and putting music into it. The other guy putting like life into everything. There's a lot of I just for months I just listened to that Srimad Bhagavatam text and just loved it. Absolutely. It's still one of those things where I'll some days just if I need something to listen to that.
So you've done a lot of study on the Indian traditions, it seems.
Yep, three of my drummer and bassist are both Indian as well, and the singer that used to be with us, and one of my still great friends. So I've always loved Indian culture but they don't even really know too much about Jainism.
Flower of life.
But it actually turned out that the guy I made the app with in India, who I got connected through from like a gallery connection, actually was a Jain. And when he found out that I was making a mandala app, he was like, he gave me the deal of a lifetime, and it was really absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, this is the classic 2012 one. I think I did that one. That's one of my earlier ones in like 2009 or 8 or something.
Wow.
I could just spend all day looking at that. I'd never get anything done if I looked at your website. Jeez.
That's why I love what you do on your channel. And you went back, like you go back 13 years. And I think
thank you so much.
When YouTube was almost like created or first out, that was very smart to put your artwork on there and then play around with it and then showing stuff to go back 13 years. I'm like, that was genius in itself. And your artwork is incredible.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's kind of nuts going back.
Is that like the Kundalini snake there, or?
Yeah, that's like, well, this one is all about the Native American culture, so like South American and American. It's got a little I think it's got some Aboriginal universal.
Oh man, there's so much in there.
That one's got a ton. This is one of the ones that has like an educational page attached to it because I'm a teacher. My mom's a teacher. My aunts are teachers. I never went to school for it, but I taught at private schools. I've taught every age group.
That's like an understatement. You need a better title than just saying I'm a teacher. Like,
yeah, I know that's
an understatement. But yeah, that's awesome.
That one right there. Oh, click on Spirate to the left. Those are my 3 spirals. I have 4 now, but to the left, the other one. That one's okay, but that's my second one. I don't really like that one. That one's, it does some cool stuff, but it's not the best. This one is the one that I spent years on, and this is the one that does like the best illusion imaginable when it spins, and it can't like nothing. That's great. Like I found no way, no print, nothing does it justice. I actually printed one version of this that was like with those rotating colors, like a spectraflexy kind of like a spectrum changing kind of print. And it spins and it looks like amazing, but it still doesn't do like the magic that the original does. This one just like you can, like when it spins slowly in your room, like you just let the wind take it, and I hang it with like a tripod and then an elastic, so it like spins really, like you get a really nice spin, and then it like goes in and out, and you can just see into it, like you can see all the layers unraveling. And Spirella is my last one. That's for my daughter. That one's cool. That one actually looks really nice spinning too. That one and Spirea are my favorites of the Spiral clan.
You know, I'd love to have this above my bed. That would be fun.
This one's really happy and positive and imagination filled. I tried to almost like predict the world of my daughter with that one before she came out.
JJ, I bet your kids would like these.
Oh, she's sitting right here staring at it. I was telling her about, we're going to have this guy on, and he does all this, artwork. And I was showing her because she loves to draw.
Oh, nice.
And I let her draw when she feels like it. And I tell her that whatever she's doing, nothing's wrong.
That's right.
We do homeschooling. So there's no restriction, because when I was in school, it was, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Yeah. Because there was something to measure up to, and I was like, that was just ridiculous. So having the freedom, I said, here's crayons, markers, pencils, watercolors are when I'm doing it, because I don't want to see the carpet and stuff. But I said that having that availability there and just going, whatever you feel like doing. I do abstract art where I'm just doing. But
there's a therapeutic aspect to just paint in general, and abstract. Everything, every bit of art. It's like a spectrum of sound.
Like, is that like tarot cards?
Yeah, these are the tarot cards. When I
I'm like, am I seeing that right? That's crazy.
That's a cool display. That's one of the few originals that I've actually sold to one of my friends. Like a few
Masonic.
My friend bought that
one.
There. Yeah, that one's nuts. I mean, I took like the Rider-Waite deck and I tweaked it and I added like cool stuff and I interconnected everything, and I mean, it's still, there's the dark parts of the tarot, but the tarot is interesting. It's whatever it is, divination methods. I don't necessarily think
that was the creepiest tarot card thing I've ever seen. That was awesome.
Well, that's a spiritual lesson that I think a lot of people miss, is that you have to have light and dark. that if you don't have both, you're not in balance. So you don't have to go to the dark, but you have to acknowledge the dark.
And also I do think that, like, you know, it's a lot of the aspects nowadays too of like almost similar to like when the Jesuits are like looking at like a shaman or something in like the old stories, and they're like the devils were like going everywhere. It's like I feel like that still exists a lot of time where people will be like, oh, tarot, that's evil. They'll automatically lump it in, and instead of like trying it or seeing what it is and not even really trying. I do feel like it does have a dark element to it. It's like it's one of those things where like if you mess with it or you abuse it, it does weird things. But
raising kids to be aware of it. And I said, we watch movies, they're interested in stuff, and I said, you're not going to dive into it, but you need to be aware of it, and you need to not be intimidated by it.
Oh yeah,
like, I wasn't brought up that way. I was scared of a lot of stuff that now I'm almost 40, and I'm like.
I love black and white. That's probably my favorite is black and white.
Creepy.
That's how I started. That's an early one.
I don't know why. I'm drawn to black and white. So that's
how I started. For a while, I didn't think I was ever going to get into color, to be honest.
There's so much more detail sometimes that you can see with black and white.
What other like sections would be cool to look at on here?
There's a lot of them. That Masterpiece has like the big ones. Visions has the most, but Masterpiece has the nutso ones.
This is the one that's behind you, right?
Yep. Oh no. That one, that's the Great Awakening behind me. This one right here, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft, was actually just featured in the very last page of this magazine called Spirit of Change. And it was like a very like great magazine, like a paper, one of those new agey paper magazines that is in all kinds of places and like for years. And the very last episode, the very last page was that drawing.
You know, I can understand, you know, when it comes to art, you don't like everyone's art. Okay. There's a lot of artists that I don't like. And it's not that they're not good artists. It's just I don't particularly like it. Okay. But to say that this is not good art, it is absolutely ridiculous.
It's just a sign of an immature young piece of garbage.
In search of the truth.
The kid means nothing. And the kid's not even a blip on any radar. But I guarantee you, anybody that saw it isn't gonna think like he does. The kid acts from a weird perspective. That
I challenge your stick figures.
Honestly,
I mean, he's gonna burn his own bridge. I mean, he could have literally, you know, come on on my show and people would have, you know, liked him. You know, but
like working together.
That's why it's weird. There's a weird
agree.
There's a weird competitive element to people this new round of people. They have a weird competitiveness that you don't see from the other people, like the Paul Cooks and things. All want to join forces and be nice, and these weird people are like trying to like do something that just doesn't seem right. It doesn't.
It's a me first mentality.
I'm gonna tell you, if I have a flashback, I'm sorry.
You might like that Infinite Worlds Below one to the left. That one's kind of cool. That's one of the Tartarian-ish ones, but this one, that's the Janiverse again.
I like the turtle.
The elephants, the white elephants on the side. That's just there's so many.
Is it a lotus flower?
Yeah, the whole thing kind of is. That Maya Cosmos one, go up one. Yeah, that Maya Creation. Yeah, that one is. This is one of my like super old like. This one is one of those ones that I don't even understand. Like if you go, that's the intention of that one. I did this in probably like 2007, but this whole bottom part is supposed to be before. This is all pre-creation or like before the Big Bangy like thing, which happens where that dot is, and then that was like above, like then like this like temple was built. This is like super early, like of my mind.
This is cool. This is really
that one.
Cool.
Somewhere there's meaning in that one, and I don't even know it yet. There's a lot of interesting faces though.
Well, you said it's like the beginning.
beginning of my art world. Like this was probably the first big drawing I ever did.
Have you ever had like bands want to use your art for their album covers?
Yeah, my band, we used my art a couple times, and then I've drawn for a few other bands that weren't really that big, but they used my art a few times. Mount Meru, that one's kind of cool. My whole envisioning of the land around Meru, Park Meru.
That is
so cool.
Awesome.
So cool.
And these again, like I'm actually running into the issue now more than ever. Now that I have more colors, I have a lot of the colors don't come out. They can't be scanned because they're like neon and they're really bright. So my it's right. The original looks like it's even better, like almost like a lot better. Sadly, but I can't capture them. I need a
I was showing it. I forget what the name of it is, where they have the prism and they look through the prism and they can do a tracing on the page of something that's in front of them.
Yeah, that it's not the camera obscura, but camera like something else. Something like that. I've wanted to make one of those, but I haven't yet.
I found another video after I found that one, where a guy was using an iPad as that device, and it had that was really wild. That thing was really cool. I haven't prepared it for the show. I forgot. I was actually going to show it to you and see what you thought, because that looked really neat.
I'd like to see that. You send me the link at one point.
Okay,
too.
Yeah, I will. It was
for
just
Drew out there. For Drew, it usually to sketch the art. It usually it depends how long. It depends how big, I guess, the drawing is, but it usually doesn't take me very long to pencil kind of what I need, like the main elements, and then once I get it to a point where I'm like confident that I can fill in the rest, then I just go for it.
Have you done anything pertaining to the old world architecture?
Yeah, there's that Worlds Below one. There was check that. Actually, go down to Visions and check Ancient and Past Artists. I might have linked it there. I might have made a category of it. Yeah, these ones are all a little, see that, like Allegory of Life, that one's based on an old drawing. Choose Ancient Forest is based on the Ancient Forest idea. Axis Bold as Love. I haven't examined that cover art in a while. I used to love Jimmy, and I remember. Was that planned? I didn't understand.
It's never planned. It's just a train wreck.
What's funnier is when it drops me out, because it does that from time to time.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was like,
it's internet, man. It'll just drop you out. It's aggravating when it does it, because sometimes it'll knock me out. Like the lightning will knock me out. Oh, I was gonna share this real quick with you. This is that image that I made a while back.
Oh, nice.
It's just incorporating, what Bansky did with just an idea I had, and I just thought was fun.
I like that. Yeah, that's not cheating. That's fine. Art is art. It just feel the feeling you get. There's so many different ways to use art, and just to use the power. I once knocked myself completely out of a sickness by painting for like 10 hours straight. It was wow. I was like, I woke up sick with a sore throat and like 103 fever, and I was actually painting a mural at my friend's house at the time. It was like a weird random opportunity that I got. Like I was like living in his room, and he just wanted me to paint all over his walls. And I have no idea what ever happened to this place, but it was like my chapel. And one day I woke up and I was sick, and I felt terrible, and I was like, I'm not letting it get the best of me. I did what I had to do with my morning little ritual, and then I like drew for like 10 hours. And by the end of the day, my fever was at 99, and I had no sore throat or cough. It was amazing. And I did nothing. I didn't even like take my like eyes. I didn't stop for 10 hours.
Well, you put that energy that was in you out of you.
Yeah, it just completely didn't think about it, and it worked. That was the first time, but it wasn't the last time that things like that have happened. It's so many magical aspects, so many things it does. I'm convinced it does so many good things to you. Thank you, Drew. that it just, I'm always learning more and more excellent things.
I imagine that you've seen it already, but have you done any looking into this new form of art, the AI art?
Oh yeah. I've seen it. I saw that one that won an award, and then someone did a cool video on it. I forget. One of the guys in my some guy that I check out occasionally did a great like hour-long video where he like typed in a bunch of different themes and got a ton of art, and it looks really cool. I mean, I still don't think I don't feel as threatened by it as other people feel. I don't think it's
no, I don't think it's a threatening thing. I think actually it could be very creative. If you learn how to code it, learn how to manipulate it, I think you could use it as an artist to create some sort of art.
Zertis is cool. I like him. Yeah, it's something. There's something that, I mean, it does have like a twinge of like something dark and kind of a little evil. A little, it's just something a little weird, but it's like
it's not good. But the transhumanist, I mean, that they'll love that, but I don't know, it's something I've run across lately, and I've played with it a little bit, and it's pretty fascinating to see what it comes up with.
Yeah,
because you type in like 3 different things.
Yeah, you can manipulate it to where you can start off with it's different ways of doing it, but you could put in a picture and then like words, and then it will kind of take those words and that image, and then it'll make art using those parameters, and then it will morph, and then you can add more stuff.
I think I saw a video on that somebody did, and it was creepy because it was like doom and gloom. It was like,
it's like sometimes it works and other times it doesn't work, but when it works, it's interesting. That's when it.
Well, that's AI for you.
Yeah, it's a good formula. It's a good, like, interesting formula. And to be honest, it's more like it's just more competition, I guess. Really, like in a I mean, people are gonna, God knows where that, like every time something comes out, like you can kind of like see, we get a little glimpse of it at the gallery, like a trend comes, and then like the guest artists all of a sudden have it. And I haven't seen AI art enter the gallery mix yet, so I'm curious to see when and if that does happen. But I think a lot of my other
who he's an artist. He's actually doing really well with his art, and he now he does mainly surfboards and guitars for famous people.
Nice.
But he's done like he painted all the Midway Airlines planes one time.
Wow.
He's just an artist, but the one he did that got me, he did it a long time ago, back in the 90s, and I walked in his office. He owned an art store, like he owned a company called the Art Company, and he sold prints, and that was like the way he made his money. And then he made his art, and that was like his kind of side money. But then he had this piece he had been commissioned to make in his office on his easel, and I walked in, and all it was so stupid and simple, but I still love it to this day. It was imagine the canvas. Okay, and it wasn't very big, maybe 2 foot by 2 foot, black canvas. But then in the center of the canvas, it had a cross, not a Christian cross, but just a cross, like a plus sign. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty wide. And within the plus, it had a blue sky with clouds. And on the bottom, it was written across the sky.
Ah.
And I just really, still to this day, love that. I don't know why.
I like that. Yeah, sometimes a title is like the connection of a title with the art makes it expand, like in its meaning and power. And that's it's kind of funny because meaning and like it's interesting to see, like, because I find meaning to be a very important part of art. And there's a lot of art out there that just doesn't really like it doesn't really have any meaning. And to me that's I mean, that's a huge factor. I love all different kinds of art for what they have and what they bring to the table. Like abstract has a whole different feeling. Doing abstract has a whole different feeling. Painting with acrylic has a different feeling than painting with watercolor. Painting with like drawing with markers has a different feeling than drawing with colored pencils. And like everything's got a different purpose. And I think like part of the spectrum of art, like part of the healing and body and spirit connection. But like,
you never took any classes for art?
I took intro to art. That's when I discovered those pens, and then I was off on my own. But I always liked art. I always like doodled in my notebooks like constantly. And so when I found those pens, it was like it was a whole nother level. And it was right at the time of Napster. So my music was I was tons of music to inspire me and opening my mind in other ways as well at the time. That all kind of connected. Pens coincided with all that kind of exploration of everything. And then it's funny because something just triggered it, but you at one point mentioned like the rabbit holes, and besides all those other ones that we had talked about, like going up and the different signs, one part that really set it into motion, I think at one point, which is, it's kind of funny, but is Lyme's, like ticks and Lyme disease. I remember at one point I was teaching at a place I was teaching at an after school program, and I get bitten by a tick or something. And then my friend that I was teaching with was like a truther at the time, and he had been like doing it for a while. He was older than me. And he was like, this is probably like 15 years ago or something. And he mentioned Lyme, Connecticut, and that Lyme most likely was created like in this lab that just happened to be in Lyme, Connecticut. And I was like, what the I was like, are you kidding me? And then he like started talking about like Bilderberg and all those things. And I was just like, what? And so this guy took me down like a whole nother alleyway at that point in time. But it was started from ticks and being like Lyme. And then I like went really just kind of.
It's so weird what catches our attention and gets us to thinking. It's different for everyone. Everybody has a different trigger.
Yeah, it really it's nuts. I mean, what it does, it just like when all the pieces fit at one point, you just kind of like with the flat Earth and whatnot. It's like when that took a while to hit because I loved space. My mom, everyone.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And
me and JJ have had many conversations about this. When I found out the Earth was flat, it fucked with me to no end. Like 6 months,
for joy.
I was having trouble with
I
that.
did too. I was excited. I was very excited, but like
it was like a release of.
It was amazing. I loved it. I was like, I'm so glad I found this, but fuck, man, that's crazy.
I went out and stared at
my stars. You know.
The implications of that are just they're massive, and they're like it's constantly unraveling, and it stretches in every direction, that fairy tale and the
well, you know, on that subject, well, I think it's on that subject, but what do you think about simulation theory? What are your thoughts there?
With like everything's part of some form of a simulation or a test or something, that kind of matrixy stuff. I don't really I don't know. I think it's too like Obama era thought. I don't know, something about it like makes me think like the way it came around. And I think also like when I mean like things like I've never taken acid actually. I mean, people will be surprised by that. I've never. But people always are like, you don't need it so much acid. And I'm like, no, never.
Well, some people need it. I needed it. You know, you didn't. Well, you don't need it. You didn't take it.
I've always liked mushrooms. Eating them as a kid, like not hallucinogenic mushrooms. In general, mushrooms.
I didn't used to like mushrooms, and so I would never try them. And so I haven't done any drugs or alcohol or smoking in 15 years. When I woke up, I quit everything cold turkey. And so I've been sober for a long time.
That's my drug.
I love
rock
good
crystals.
Cookies. Now, you know, talking about cookies.
The cookie, the rainbow cookies. Yeah.
That's a nice cookie.
I can dig on those. When it comes to simulation theory, here's my thing. I have always believed that we are in a simulation, but not a simulation like in the Matrix. I look at it as the creator's simulation, and
like
basically kind of like a dream, a holodeck, where the creator is creating this simulation in the creator's mind, and we are within that simulation, and we are a simulation within a simulation within a simulation. We are the creator and the creator's mind all in one, not a mechanical, not a hardware
computer.
software thing, a mind, a thought. We're a thought. It's a thought simulation. That's how I see it.
Now, I like the dreams and the illusion, like all the dreams and illusion concepts, like all like they play some important role into stuff. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if like the dream world is real and this one's fake, and we've just been weeded out of that dream world. Like, you know, anything is. I feel like we've suffered so much damage, like as a like we've just gone so far astray that like we can't even fathom what's happening. But I think we're getting all of us together. I think have a better chance than anyone individually, and but also there is, I mean, those realms, like those realms, like those, just whatever they are, they're terrifying, but they're like, there's something.
Did you ever study
I haven't done anything in years, but they just something about what the fact that those states can be altered, can be experienced. There's something there that I don't know. I always wonder if there's some kind of answer out in that world, and like how many, you know, there's always. I remember the first time I ever actually tried mushrooms. I did research for years, and then I it was kind of like, because I don't even like going on roller coasters, or being like in a high area, and I don't like doing anything that's not natural, because I'm like no pills. I'm always convinced that I'll be the one that suffers something bad from it, so I don't do it. But those, I built up enough courage, and I did them, and had just an absolutely a life-changing experience back in college. And the very next day, my Greek civilization teacher in class was teaching us about and showing us artwork of like different people holding mushrooms and telling us about mushroom ceremonies. And
have you looked into the mushroom cults and the mushroom religions of the ancients?
A little bit. From what the books that I've read, I've heard different glimpses and pieces, but I haven't I mean, I believe they have to be connected with so much. I can't even. I can't even. Even today, we were walking around the woods, and there are more hasn't been raining in a long time in Massachusetts, and we just got like 3 days of rain, and today was sunny, unbelievably sunny. I must have seen 110 different species of mushroom on our walk today that were all just everywhere. And it's like, you know, what are each one of those, you know, some will kill you, but if it kills you, what is it? How does each one has like a magic to it?
It has a purpose. Yeah.
It has a purpose. Yeah. It's who knows?
There's some things on this earth that I have a feeling that were genetically modified for bad purposes, like poisonous snakes, for instance.
Yep, I can see that.
I have a feeling that they are genetically modified by bad people that have been in the past. Same thing with mosquitoes.
Ticks,
scorpions, ticks. Yes, flies. I don't know, but you know, it's like these things. It's like you have to sit there and wonder, why would the creator create such horrible creatures?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it doesn't. And then you think about like all the things that they could do in the past, and those weird books that they have of mutants all over the place, and like different mutations, and there's no telling how far they went, and the fact that they're definitely their alchemy and stuff was probably spot on.
You read the Zachariah Ascension's books, you know, there's a lot of that in there, and it makes you wonder if maybe they did genetically modify some things that maybe they needed to get rid of.
I could see that. Yeah,
did you ever look into Terence McKenna and his work?
Yeah, he's one of those ones that I think he's got some good, but then I think a lot of him leads you astray in some way. Like I think I listened to one like 10-hour talk of his once, and I liked a lot of it, but I don't like that he one of his main things is like you should just go in a room and close your eyes, and I mean, I haven't done it again in years, but when I did, when back in the day, like nothing would beat being in nature and being smothered in nature and surrounded by nature. Being in a room, in a dark room, would be like an absolute nightmare compared to like feeling the breeze, laying in the grass.
I liked his work about the talking about the I Ching and how he was using that with the Mayan calendar and the convergence with the two. And you know, I studied the I Ching, and I don't know, I studied a lot of people, but I just thought that part of it was interesting. A lot of his stuff was, you know, he did too many drugs, but yeah.
That's again. He's got a lot of great insight, and then there's certain things I feel like were maybe to lead people astray, like that aspect. But the I Ching is I've heard a lot of people mentioning that, and again, is it Tartarian, and what did they figure out? Like you were saying with Da Vinci, you know, all those things.
That I Ching is wild. If you start to like play with that thing can be incredibly accurate. It is wild how accurate
divination is nuts.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of different methods of that. I actually have a flip method that I used for like my entire life, where I'll like flip I'll never flip a coin, but I'll flip something relevant, and then I base my decision on it. And if I'm stumped, and then like, you know, if the object lands a certain way, it means that both are good, and if it lands like best out of 3 on one particular way, then that's the way. And I just different like. I mean, even my tea leaves, occasionally I drink matcha, and occasionally I'll see an image in the tea leaves that like is connected to a drawing I'm doing or something I'm thinking of, or like there's always different. I'm very like always aware or on the lookout for like interesting synchronicities and signs and stuff.
The universe talks to me. I've learned to listen, and I don't like when I'm making my videos, I don't even bother thinking about it. I just let the universe send it to me, and it'll just come out of nowhere. Like, and I just have to pay attention. And so
that's what I like about listening to you. It's good.
I'm not doing that. That's the universe. I can't take no credit for any of that. It's just
the noosphere. They call it the noosphere.
What?
They call it the. Have you ever heard that term, the noosphere? Like NOOS.
Yes.
That kind of seems like it is capable of tapping into it. I'm beginning to wonder too if those pagodas. I have a video coming out on this, or I'm working on a video, but those Chinese pagodas and different Tartarian pagodas, and I'm beginning to wonder if they more like you know, if they're in a kinetic world where they don't really need electricity for so much things, or like different things, like, you know, maybe those were there for like some form of telepathy or some form of ether, like maybe a way to tap into that freaking noosphere.
An antenna to the creation, to the universe.
I'm beginning to amplify
from the crown chakra out.
I'm beginning to think something like that is possible with those, because those are so they're there, and they're clearly like, and even there's like one drawing I came across recently where just every house in this old like 1600s etching is like, you know, has a form of antenna up next to it. But it's like I don't think that electricity was really necessarily that thing. I think that it's something else, maybe even a communicate, like just something.
Yeah, I'm not like sold on what they like. I think a lot of us think that the electricity that they were generating was used for televisions and radios, and I don't think that's what they were doing. I think they were much higher.
Yeah,
I don't think they needed it.
And I think if you're a civilization that's constantly like, you know, blending like dimensions with, you know, I mean, we know of that one type of mushroom. I mean, I hate to go back into mushrooms again, but you know of one mushroom that does one thing, and like, you know, herbs that do like one thing, but there was probably so much more, and then different combinations of different things that they had that were lost in time that keep you in, and then just having a clean environment without that electromagnetic nonsense, and with like just a more pure water everywhere. Like, you know, they almost existed in a world that we can't even fathom. And then as a result, you can't really fathom like what how the human body reacts in a world that's so pure, because our world is so fucking trashed that it's like we're dulled, we're like numb to.
I have this thing where like when there's a piece of trash on the ground, and this might sound messed up, but I refuse to pick up anyone else's trash on this world, because if that's the problem, I think, is that everybody picks up everybody else's trash. You need to pick up your own damn trash. I'm not picking it up.
Yeah.
Now, the day that everybody decides to pick up their own trash, that's the day I'll get in and help pick everything up.
I'll pick it up, but I announce that I'm picking up someone else's trash.
I live in the country, there's nobody to tell.
Oh, there's always somebody behind a tree, like when you're walking through or hiking through. There's always something. Even going to our dog park, there's so much landmines everywhere, and I'm like, I'm picking up someone else's doo-doo.
The worst are the people that leave it in the bag are the absolute dumbest of the dumb. The people that dog shits in a plastic bag where like it would have been somewhat natural, and they put it in a bag and leave it there on the fire.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
It's great. I see that too. The trash can is right there, and they just like bagged it and left it.
Well, here's let's see. Here's a question. Kind of shift gears a tiny here. What is your, if when it comes to the mud flood or the last reset, what do you think personally happened? What is your thinking on that?
I'm still, I mean, I still believe, you know, I don't like stick to anything. I'm always open to kind of to think about it, but I think a range of different things. Like I almost, a part of me is convinced that this whole, at one point in the distant time, this whole place was created, it was crafted by some engineer race or something that like, but then I don't know what from. Like every time you seem to go deeper into the ground, it seems like you have stuff that just doesn't make any sense, like with the current thing. And so and you know, less and less I believe things like the Big Bang. Obviously, I don't think anything like that they would tell us is even slightly close to what really happened. No. So I feel like just the imagination is the only way, like to possibly maybe come up with something that like is a possibility. Like, you know, it ranged from that whole thing where maybe this whole thing is created and you go down and there's just layers and layers of something. My first band actually within like, I had a guitar for like a month, and I formed a band with my neighbors, and we were called we were called Rabid Wombats from Mars first, and then after that we were called Hollow Earth, because I came up with that. I came across that theory.
Yeah,
and that was another thing when that was my first kind of diving into. That was in 7th grade when I discovered the Hollow Earth, and I was like, wait, like, you know, there's not. What I'm hearing from NASA may not be right, because this sounds pretty awesome. Like this whole Hollow Earth kind of phenomenon, and then the more you find out they haven't gone anywhere deep, you know, different stories is like, you know, there's so much. I can't even fathom.
I went across the Hollow Earth before I woke up, so when I did wake up, I'd already passed away with that, and then no, I didn't backtrack. I just went forward. I ignored that, and then I didn't come to Flat Earth until 2017, because I went offline from 2008 to 2017 when I was having my awakening, and so if I didn't have it in book form, I didn't research it, and I didn't have anything on Flat Earth, and so it went right past me. And then when I woke up when I came back online, that's about the time that Mud Flood was just starting to come out, and so I came out at the perfect time to find that. And then when I started seeing these images of windows and doors below ground, I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And so I just kept thinking and searching, and finally one day it just hit me. You know, I found Martin Lika, you know, explained, mud flood, the word. I'm like, what the hell is mud flood? And so I looked that up, and I'm like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. Because I spent 6 months looking at windows and doors below ground with not knowing the wording, and I didn't know what I was looking at. And I thought I was going crazy, I'm like, I know something's not right here, but I don't know what these people, because all I had was these damn slideshows with no words and no text. And all I had was old world pictures. And I kept seeing the same phenomenon. I know this guy's saying something. I just don't know what.
There's something there. It's everywhere. Then once that's the thing too. You start I'm not sure where you live, but once it started clicking, you started seeing it everywhere. Every town has.
I'm really close to Fort Bragg. I'm in a little town called Dunn, but I live about 30 miles from Fort Bragg, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
Kind of in the center Piedmont area of North Carolina. So what nice. you said you had a connection to Florida, or you're planning to go back to Florida?
Yeah. I'd like to. We have some family down in Florida, and my goal is to get down to Florida. I think that my art is. I've always liked. I've had enough of kind of the Northeast, and I love the seasons. It's made me who I am. The winters and whatnot.
Would really like your art in Florida too, because of the brightness. People like
that's
that.
Exactly it. I believe that it's like the even the majority of people that buy from me up here tend to be from Florida. We get a lot of tourists in Florida. People come into the gallery and they see my art and they buy it, and it's always happened. And they I've had family bring it down there and people rave about it. We and my wife went down there for about 2 weeks at one point, and in that we went to a restaurant, and within 5 minutes I met the manager and we painted a mural the next week. And I was like, nothing like that happens up here. Massachusetts is kind of like the art scene is Cape, and if you don't draw a hibiscus flower, or a hydrangea flower, or a lighthouse, or a boat, they won't even look at you. They'll think you're just ugh. And I
can understand that though.
Dark.
They want to keep that Boston thing, They have that Boston.
It's boring. It's dark. It's boring. It's depressing. It stinks.
I was actually surprised when you said you weren't from Florida. That surprised me, because I thought you have to be from Florida. The way your art comes off, it seems like you're from Florida or have
a bright place. Some bright place. I love the warmth and the Caribbean, and I can't get enough of I need to be in a tropical place. I love
go to. Do you have that figured out where you want to go? What part of Florida?
Probably we're thinking the west coast of Florida, where our family and stuff is. But
that's where JJ is.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was gonna say Panhandle or down the side.
Down the side, probably on the Gulf. But
that's
we're
where she is. Tell him where you are, JJ.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What county are we in? Manatee County.
They just moved there.
Nice.
We're in Palmetto.
Awesome.
It's a small town. Bradenton is in Sarasota are 20 minutes.
Oh, I've heard about Bradenton.
Tampa, right?
We're about 40 minutes south of Tampa.
Yeah.
On good traffic.
Nice.
But
where'd you move from?
We moved from Michigan, but I'm born and raised in Michigan. My better half was raised in Florida, just outside of Tampa.
Oh, cool.
So he's happy to be back, and I'm happy to enjoy the warm weather because it's miserable up there. It's like you guys are saying, your artwork is what is needed up there because it's dismal up there, but they don't want it at the same time. True. Except for maybe Royal Oak, Michigan is this small little hub of artsy fartsy kind of environment, but it's so small. But it's like 10 minutes north of Detroit. It's again the whole state of Michigan, and you got this little dot that's a nice city that is the only artsy stuff that you got behind you and everything you're doing. Where I would say you could thrive there, but it's so small and miserable still because 9 months out of the year it's cold. But
just want to be warm. Florida seems perfect.
I'll share a little with you guys. I have a little bit of my history. Let me get it up here. If you go to Google,
there I am.
Yeah, she's over here. She's over this area here.
Oh wow.
My uncle, he lived in Ormond Beach, and they were there early. And right here you have what's called the casements, and it's David Rockefeller's house. This is the house that he died in.
Oh.
And it's right here on the river on the intercoastal. And right here is where the Ormond Hotel was. It was a major Tartarian building. It's now gone. And then if you go across inland, across the river, directly, David Rockefeller's house was right here. This is his property here. If you go directly across the river, this property here, this entire area, was my uncle's house.
Wow.
And he owned this entire property here, and he sold it to the city of Ormond so they could build the city hall and the library. So this was my uncle's property right here, directly across the river from David Rockefeller.
Wow.
And he lives right there.
Wow,
and I used to go and hang out, right here, and look at the intercoastal.
Wow.
You can drop down there, but that's just a little backstory there, and that this was a view I've seen many times.
Wow.
There's the casements.
Damn, that's incredible. There's so many different things in there. There's so many amazing places I can't even fathom. So cool.
That's a wonderful.
Hopefully I'll get down there with you, JJ.
Yes.
Is there any more of your art that you'd like to share from your website?
I don't know. I actually have to take off in a couple minutes, but
okay.
I don't know. I'd say go exploring. There's a lot of different interesting things to see. I put a lot of different categories up there. I'll probably add some more. There's if you keep searching, there's like a warning political kind of one in there. I just had to put those in there. There's somewhere over there. Art products has a lot of different cool things, and you never know what you find. I keep kind of trying to add more little things and spice. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in there.
Do you do anything with Organite?
No, I haven't. But that's the stuff that protects from the radiation and whatnot?
Well, it protects from a lot of things. I don't know if I don't know if you can see it. I've got some around my neck here.
Yeah, I had something like that once, and I got it at a festival, and it was lingering around our house for a while, and I don't know where it is, but I liked it.
You should look into that. That can be very artistic stuff. These are really cool.
Yeah, these are the gems. God bless these things. I discovered that you could turn I have at the gallery. I have hundreds of necklaces and gems in a buckets and different treasure boxes. There's I discovered that I could make 1 million of these if I wanted to, and they're all different and all unique. And
dragon is cool.
Changing different sizes of our artwork. You can make each artwork. I can make thousands of these.
Really,
and they're all different. So it's pretty cool. They're a good little thing. My wife came up and discovered that idea.
Neato.
This is commissions, I guess.
Yeah, actually, those were some art covers. Yeah, those art cover above. There were a couple art covers for this rapper in Denmark or something, or Netherlands. There's a lot of these illustrations. That was my old album. It's all over the place. The page itself, but
it's flipping around. What else would be cool to look at here?
Spinning research and find.
Spinning mandala magic. Yeah, those are. Wait, go down. Does that have? Sometimes I show. Oh, never mind. Sometimes I show the spinning ones in the bottom. I don't know why I didn't with that one, but
okay, so they are on here.
Yeah. Some of those will spin if that one might show. That just shows a video of a bunch of them. Yeah, that shows kind of the power of the app, but it's taken from an old school iPad, so it's a little choppy. It wasn't right. now I discovered how to use Adobe to make these things spin and actually come out in like high quality animations. They looked great on the app, but when you transfer them to
That's
iPad,
trippy.
yeah, just like that.
That's great.
So I went down a rabbit hole when the app came out of like going. I sketched out like hundreds of different patterns to see which ones.
I can see the band Tool using your stuff.
Different thing. And this is one of the coolest, like, to wrap your head around, like how something spins and the potential to like utilize that spin is like, it's awesome.
Really great stuff.
Ooh.
We have really enjoyed having you on here and discussing all this with us. I've had a blast.
Yeah, me too. Your time flew.
I have a Flower of Life tattoo there, and
nice.
I made this out of wood. I was bored one day.
Wow.
It's cheesy, but I don't know.
That's cool.
Trying to create. Sometimes, like it's just good to create, but
meditative.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I love art. I'm big time art fan. And to have somebody that's awake and doing art is even better. It's like double plus good.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's something. There's a lot of ideas brewing, and I think imagination's one way to kind of piece together some of these things and kind of think about it. It can make people kind of fathom something that's not really.
Do you make any kind of like GIF kind of work, like CGI-ish kind of, like somebody has a concept for a CGI-ish video? Do you do anything like that?
If I don't really dive like After Effects. I can like take my my artworks and tweak them in with like different After Effects things. I'm still kind of experimenting with that and figuring that stuff out, which is cool. Like changing the perspective and zooming in and doing things and changing the spectrum color, like things like that. I used to do with GIFs and like with Photoshop and do frame by frame, and that was kind of annoying. And
that's how I did. I don't know if you've seen my opening before with the glasses, the National Treasure glasses, where the glasses slam down.
Yeah, I think so.
That's actually 175 separate frames that I pieced together individually to make it do that. People have really liked that. When I made it, I had this concept in my head that it would be cool, but for some reason, people have really liked that short clip. I don't know.
It got my attention.
Yeah, I agree. There's something about that kind of stuff and stop motion, like that stuff. Like looks.
Yeah, I love stop motion.
Cool. I like kind of the old fashioned stuff. I'd like to learn more. I'd love to team with someone who can take like the drawing behind me and like actually make it come alive. Like if someone could, I love for like a people.
You know those pictures where you'll have like an old picture and then like they'll take the people and kind of move them and then the background comes to. How do they do that?
That's like those are great. I used to actually do that with the kids at my after school program. But you can really, if you do it. Say you take a picture. If you have a camera, you can just do it. You take a picture like take a picture in front of one eye or your right eye, and then with the same center point, move it over to your left eye and take a picture with that same focal center point, and then you go into Photoshop and make 2 layers, and then turn it into a GIF, and then they just go back and forth. It's called like a wiggle GIF or something.
It's like the stereoscopic pictures.
It creates like a stereoscopic thing.
Huh.
In the stereoscopic things, you don't need those glasses to see. You can cross your eyes and see those too. You can even like if you have 2.
You done the magic eye? Do you do magic eye?
I never the magic eyes. I was never really that good at. So I think I countered. For some reason, I could like never see them, and I was always so pissed. So I like dove into all these other illusions instead. I could never.
Oh man, I can totally see a magic eye in your pictures. Like that would be really, really cool.
I talked to the team from Magic Eye at one point and we were gonna do something at one point, but it fell through. But but either way, the illusions of I forget what I was just saying, but the Illusions they're amazing. What were we just talking about? We had something.
Nope.
Oh, we're talking about the stereoscopic.
Oh yeah. You can see that if you have two similar things in your in reality, like two like I have flyers, tons of them usually, all over the place. But either way, if you take two of the same thing and you put them like at the right distance, cross your eyes, and then focus on the one in the middle, and you can do stereoscopic things in reality, and like it's amazing. And you can even do it in you can even blend. I've got a couple of drawings that I are in the works. I've shelved them a little bit, but I'll probably go back to them. But they're like stereoscopic drawings that when you do the cross-eye technique, they combine in a way that like allows you to like see into them and like it's cool like dimension. They make you like go. It almost hurts, but it like when it clicks, it like looks really cool. Like I love experimenting with all those.
I don't know why this popped in my mind, but I could just see like you know how you got those necklaces. What if you put that on a watch, like a swatch?
On the back of it, that could be cool.
On the front.
And with the dials, I don't even underneath.
Yeah, underneath the make it the clock
hands.
face.
That could be cool.
I bet kids would like that, like the teenagers that.
That's something I'd have to get I'd have to get there. Oh,
She drew
nice.
a fox. It's a fox that it's not coming up, but the whole time you've been talking, she was drawing.
I draw.
Wow, that's awesome.
Good job.
My legs are so tired.
Now I gotta go draw.
When I was growing up, I would draw in class, and they told me not to draw. And finally, I just started listening to them. You know, just don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
I'm the one who kept drawing.
I wish I had them because that really is a wonderful talent. But
it's fun. Everyone can do it, man. Everyone has it. I'm convinced. I mean, I work with a lot of the artists at my gallery are people that retired and then got into art, and they love it. They've been doing it for like a decade plus now, and I'm the youngest one in the gallery by far, and the only one who's really been not the only one, but one of the few that have been doing it since pretty much birth. But it's an amazing. You never know. You meet a lot. I meet tons of artists all the time. I love it. I'm hoping to actually we're getting better internet at the gallery. It's trash. It's been trash for years, but they're getting some new stuff, and I'm hoping to maybe do like a show or something when we're at the gallery, or if a live stream from the gallery. And if I do, I'll bring you in there, Beags. If I can figure it out.
That'd be great. Yeah,
I'd like to try something like that. It seems like it would be cool to just test out. And I've always wanted to. Another thing I wanted to do is just set up a camera and draw, and then just let people just watch me draw while I just see if anyone likes doing that or something. I don't know.
I can imagine people would like that. Yes,
a couple of people have brought that up to me, and I was like, I might as well try it at some point. Maybe
you'll have people that want to learn to draw. You'll have people that are that want to just watch something and kind of veg out and relax. I mean, you'll have all kinds of people. You should you can't put music on too much because you'll get copyrights. But
I got my own music.
Just talk about philosophy and things like we've been talking about, and just kind of put out your thinking, and just kind of interject that into that, and I think that would be really classy stuff.
All right. I mean, I might have to try that. I did it once for a town, for Foxborough's their cable access television. They filmed me for 3 hours, like doing this drawing and talking about it. And I actually included Tartarian because I knew it was like going to be seen by like no one. But I know like some random people would see it. So I included stuff like Tartaria and like other dimensional stuff that I knew was gonna just be.
It wasn't. Yeah, you were doing something. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it boring. I'm gonna make it interesting.
I mean, and they loved it. It was like a senior group, and they loved it.
Like at the you really blew their minds then.
Have you ever done any live chats like this?
The what?
Have you ever done any live chats like this? Have you done any live chats like this before?
Breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
I did one with someone, some guy once that was pretty fun. I forget. It was like a year ago or a year and a half ago. He was some guy that asked me to do something like this, and I did it, and that's pretty much it.
I will tell everybody watching this video to go and check out artofdino's art and buy you a little something and support his work and his research, and that's how you can help him.
And I hook everyone up. I sometimes, I admit, I sometimes take, like, if I don't have a print in stock, I have to then go to Boston to get it. So that can sometimes take me like a week or two extra. But if someone orders one print, I include 3. If someone orders a big print, I include like a bunch of little goodies, and I always include free. I'm like a big guy on giving free things out to people, and so I price everything so I can give you free things, and hopefully you'll come back.
That's wonderful.
And if anyone has any commissions, let me know. I'll draw anything. And my new commission, if I can nail it, we'll celebrate when it's done, because it's going to be a good one.
That's awesome. That's all. I have one. I think I've figured out how to do it, but I don't know if you've heard. I've got a joke about Fred the horse that built America. And basic the idea is that, you know, they say that they built everything, you know, in the 1850s to, you know, early 1900s with this horse and cart, and they brought everything in. And the joke is that Fred, this horse, is the one that brought all this stuff in. It's a joke, right? But people think it's hilarious, which I think it is too. But they've been asking for a T-shirt. And so I've not found an image that will work. But what I want is a big Tartarian, what I call wedding cake building, in the background.
I think we got the same vision.
Taken from the ground, looking up, and then as you're looking up, you got Fred, the horse, with a cart loaded with bricks, and so you're looking from the ground up through Fred with the horse and cart, and then behind him you got the Tartarian building. That's what I'm trying to find, but I can't find it, so I think I'm gonna have to make it myself. I kind of thinking maybe doing that tracing thing and trace the building, and then or take a picture of the building and then find a horse and cart, and then I don't know how to do it, but that's what my image in my head I'm seeing. But
one of the thing that popped into my head was like a horse, like with basically like just, I don't know if he'd be giant, like the perspective could go a couple different ways, but a horse basically carrying a cart with like a Tartarian wedding cake like building in the cart.
Yeah. I thought about that one time, but I couldn't figure out how to get that building to look right on the cart.
A struggling horse.
That would be cool. Delivery cart
perspective a little. I'll give it some thought.
Tartarian delivery service by Fred.
By one horse.
That's crazy.
The biggest horse ever.
That is awesome. I like it. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and take a break and let you get going, and we will bid you a fond farewell, and thank you for your time. I'm sure that, you know, this is taking out of your, you know, time for doing your art and spending with your family, but we really appreciate it. So
it's fun. I appreciate it too, you guys. Thank you so much. This has been great. This is the start of something new and excellent. So thank you, Beags and JJ.
Wonderful. You're quite welcome.
Quite welcome. Great. Keep it up. I'm going to be listening and checking in a lot more. So
everybody go, you know, sub his channel and go watch a video and leave a like or a dislike. Guess what? The algorithm don't care if it's a like or a dislike. It gives you it helps your channel either way. So up or downs, try to like
it. Yeah, we'll prefer those, but I don't fucking care. Who cares? All right, you guys are great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks.
You too. We'll see you later.
Thanks,
Bye, DiNo.
Bye, DiNo.